Hello everybody and welcome to another week of Virtual Online Junior Church. I'm once again so excited and glad that you've joined me, and I'm so excited especially for what we're going to be looking at today. It's an awesome story, an awesome true event that actually happened, and it just absolutely blows my mind every time I think about it. So before we go any further, I want to do our theme song. Now what I really want is I want to hear you guys do it with me. Okay? Now, I know that I can't actually hear you wherever you're watching this when you're watching this, but you can always have mom or dad or whoever's at home videotape you, maybe just take a quick video of your on their phones of you while you do this with me, and they can send it to me. That would be awesome. I'd love to see it. But do you remember what our theme song is? Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, Explorers! Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, Explorers! Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, Explorers! Did you do it with me? I don't know. I hope so. I hope so. So here's my hat. I got my hat on. You can get your Explorer... Uh-oh, my hat's coming apart. You can get your Explorer gear on or right there with you, depending on what it is, as long as mom or dad or whoever's at home is cool with that. I got my hat on. Do you guys remember yet again, what are we exploring? We're exploring your backyard, right? No, that's not right. That's not right. We are exploring God's Word. And so before we start exploring God's Word, I want to just start getting us thinking about something. And so here's what I want you to do, all right? Now, I don't want you to break the TV or the tablet or whatever you're watching this on, okay? But what I want you to do is I want you to sort of come up to the screen, up to what you're looking at, as if I were looking at you, and I want you to show me your muscles. Can you give me your muscle show? Can you do that? You can't see my other arm, but I'm posing and flexing here. You guys got some big muscles, I bet. I'd love for you to flex those and show those to even the people that are in the room watching it with you. All right? You guys think that you're strong, right? I mean, I think I'm pretty strong. But do you guys think you're strong enough to pick up something like a pencil? That takes a lot of strength, doesn't it? No? No, that doesn't take a lot of strength? Okay, well, maybe not. If you think you could pick up a pencil, do you think you could pick up a table or maybe like a chair? That's pretty heavy too, isn't it? That's pretty heavy. Do you think you could pick up a car? Are you that strong? You think you're strong enough to do that? Man, that's super hard. Do you think you could pick up, I don't know, like the world? Do you think you could hold the whole world up and just go, pick it up? You think you could do that? I can't. I know I can't pick up the world. My strength has a limitation to it. There's a certain level of things that I can't do. But today we're going to look at an awesome account in the Bible that really happened about how strong and about how mighty God is. And I am so excited to look at that with you. So, do you remember, we're going to go back to talking about the Bible, which we're just sort of introducing the idea here. Hold on, my computer decided to freeze on us again. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I'm sort of out of the picture right now, but my computer will come back on and show us our... There it is. All right, so do you remember what book of the Bible we are looking at? What book of the Bible? Do you remember what we talked about last week? We're looking at the book of Joshua, okay? The book of Joshua. You remember we had been looking at the books of Exodus and Leviticus and those books that talked about Moses as the leader of God's people. But now we're looking at the book of Joshua. And last week we looked at the story of Rahab and how there were spies that went into the land and into the promised land that God had promised to give the nation of Israel, which was God's people, right? And the spies went in to check it out, and Rahab saved them and she protected them. And so the spies went back to the Israelites who still hadn't yet crossed into the promised land. And so today we're gonna talk about that account of the promised land and Israel actually crossing into the promised land. And so I have this picture here up on the screen. This is actually I'm just gonna give this my best shot. Madaba mosaic, okay? It's a mosaic that's about 1,500 years old, so over 1,000 years old, okay? And you'll notice that it looks kind of funny. A mosaic is a bunch of little colors, this one's little tiles that are put together that make, when you step back and look at all of them, they make a picture. This is supposed to be a picture of the Promised Land, okay? It's a little bit of a picture. And you can see on here, and we'll talk about it in a little bit too, but you're going to see on the picture there that one of the things that Israelites had to cross to get into the Promised Land, there was something between them and the Promised Land. What do you think it was? What do you think it was? This story, or this picture, kind of gives it away, right? It's a river, okay? It's a river, and I'll give you bonus points. Do you know what the name of the river is? It's called the Jordan River, okay? And the Jordan River it wasn't a small river, it was a pretty big river, okay? And it was a pretty big river, and the time of year where they were crossing would have been like when it was rainy and the river was sort of overflowing its banks. So the river is normally, maybe the river's normally, it's not really this wide, but if the river's normally this wide, this is the time of year where the river gets even wider than it normally is, okay? And so some would even guess that it's like 100 feet wide. 100 feet is pretty wide, okay? You can ask your parents or whoever's there at home with you how big, how wide 100 feet is, but that's a really long a really long river to cross. And remember, rivers are moving, right? They're not just like a lake or a pond where the water stays still. They're moving. And so this was going to be hard because there's a lot of Israelites, there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of stuff that they're traveling and carrying into the Promised Land. Well, I'll bring the picture up a little bit closer. You can kind of see this. All right, you can see that they're carrying something. Those are the priests, and they were carrying what's called the Ark of the Covenant. And at this point, the Ark of the Covenant had the Ten Commandments in it. And it was really important for the Israelite people because that was sort of where God was like, my presence is with you as long as this Ark of the Covenant is here with you, okay? And so through Joshua, God gave the people of Israel a specific command, and God showed how strong and how mighty he was when he gave this command. He said, hey, you guys go up, the priests, these guys carrying the Ark of the Covenant, they're going to just put their feet into the water, and the water is going to stand up like a wall, and it's going to stop. It's going to stop flowing. This really big, this really wide river is just going to stop flowing because I am going to do it, is really what God is doing here. He's saying, I'm going to do something awesome, something mighty, something strong, something where God shows us how big and powerful he is, because God really could lift the whole earth, right? He created it, right? And so he has that ability to lift really strong things. And here he shows his strength and his control over nature and over the water. And so the water sort of stands up and stops flowing. And so the priests are able, and all of the people are able to cross through the Jordan River on dry ground. Now, this might sound familiar. We actually didn't talk about it here at a junior church, but this happened earlier when the Israelites crossed the sea, which is bigger, not moving, but it's a bigger body of water, a lot more water. But God did sort of the same thing with Moses, and so God does it again here. And God shows how strong and how mighty he is. And when the Israelites go through, Joshua says, hey, go grab 12 stones from the river and the riverbed, and I want you to go and bring them out. You get one person from every tribe, which is Israel was split into 12 different groups, 12 different tribes. And so one person from every group grabbed a rock, grabbed a stone, and they brought it out of the river. And Joshua actually has them, God has them, make what we will call a memorial. Okay, I'm going to go back to our mosaic there, okay? Sorry, I want to tie this in. And this is going to be really hard to see. Okay, I understand that you probably won't be able to see it. But in the middle of this whole mosaic, remember this mosaic is showing us, it's like a map of the Promised Land. Okay, and right here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there are 12 circles here. And those 12 circles are to represent the stones that were used as a memorial. And so what do you think the nation of Israel was supposed to be remembering, because that's what a memorial was for, is remembering those stones. When they saw them, what were they supposed to be remembering? Well, while you think about that, I'm going to show you something that I sort of have. It's not really a memorial, but I would call it a souvenir. Okay? When I travel, or when Mrs. Kellerman and I go places, we like to collect and buy somewhere when we're there a magnet. And then we come home and we put the magnets on our refrigerator, and our refrigerator kind of shows us and reminds us of all the different places that we've been. It's not really that hard to do. I'll show you. I got about 4 or 5 of those magnets here. The first one is really close to here where we are. This one is the Utica Zoo. All right, so we got a magnet from the zoo, and I always remember when I look at that magnet about how much fun we had as a family when we were at the zoo. We've gone several times and try to go as much as we can. So there's something to remember for me. I also have another one. This is another magnet, and if you can read it, it says Williamsburg. Williamsburg is a place in Virginia, okay? And so we've gone on vacation there twice, actually. And it's a really cool place, but I always remember going even before our children were born. We went with some friends, and that was a really fun time. And so I remember that when I see that magnet. This one is one of the cooler ones that I have. This is, you're not going to be able to, I don't think it says it on it. Nope, it doesn't. But this is a magnet that we bought at the Ark, Noah's Ark. So there's an Ark, a life-size, a real-size Ark that was built. And it's in Kentucky, I think it was. And we went there. We actually went there with the youth group on a mission trip. On our way back, we stopped by the Ark. So every time I see that magnet, I always think about that trip and going with the teenagers and walking through the Ark. It was a really cool place to go. So was the mission trip, but the Ark was a little bit of a different experience. I have another magnet here. This magnet, you might be able to see it. It says Atlanta. Atlanta. Now, Atlanta's a city. Atlanta's a city in Georgia. And Mrs. Kellerman and I went there. She surprised me for a trip for my birthday when I turned 30, which feels like a long time ago, but it was only a couple years ago, almost 2 years ago now. And then I have one more, and this is probably one of the cooler ones that I have. Also, I think they're all cool, but this one is a magnet from Costa Rica. And Costa Rica is a different country, and it's really far away. Not really far away, but it's far away. And every time I see that magnet, I remember going on that mission trip and the people that I got to meet there and the different experiences that I had there. And so there's a lot of magnets that we have on our fridge at our house. These are just some of them. And they remind me of things that we were doing when we traveled, different people we met and the fun that we got to have. And so that's sort of like a memorial. Okay, God was giving them and telling them to make a memorial. Joshua encouraged them to get a stone and to put these rocks there, as you can see here again on the picture. And so what do you think? Do you think it was to remember how high the river was? Do you think it was to remember how long they were wandering in the wilderness? Do you think it was to remember... Well, I'll tell you. It was so that way they could remember how strong and how mighty God is, how God provided for them during that time. God made it so they could get across the river into the promised land. And that's awesome. God is so strong. God is so mighty. Do you believe that? I really hope that you believe that, because our God loves us and He cares for us, and He is so strong and so mighty that He did something for you and for me. And that was sending Jesus to deal with a problem that we can't fix. Okay? And that was our sin, right? Our sin that separates us. God wants to be in relationship with us. And so Jesus Christ came and He died on the cross for our sins. And it's through our faith in Him that we get to have that relationship. And so we get to see God's strength and His might. Oh, my picture disappeared again. We get to see God's strength and might in accounts like this, in ways that He's worked through His people in history. But we also get to see God's strength and His might every day in our own lives as we place our faith in Him and we try to live as He would want us to and walk in a way that is honoring to Him. Let me just pray and close our time today. Dear God, we thank You for today. I thank You and praise You for the fun that we can have just looking at what You have done and how strong and how mighty you are. I thank you that you worked in the lives of the Israelites, and we just pray as we consider your strength in our lives, that we would look for how you're working and how you're moving in us. Lord, I pray that each of the children that are watching and anybody that might be watching this would be challenged to consider just to see what is it that God's doing in my life today. What is it that God's doing in my life right now? And I just pray that you would help us this week to be aware of that, to be thinking about that. And we just love you and we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks for watching today, guys. I hope that you have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next week as we continue to explore the Bible. Bye.